to order. I'd like to start out with a moment of silence and then pledge allegiance, please. All righty. Mark, you want to announce, or Steve, announce the purpose of executive session?
Tonight was legal.
Legal. Okay, we'll move down to, I'd like to have a motion to approve the expenditures period ending August 31st.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. You got that, Mel? Okay. Approval of Borough Council minutes for August 3rd. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, I'm not going to vote because I wasn't here. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Citizens to be heard. Thank you. Deferred business pond management contract. Steve, you want to give the update on that?
I can, as you know, just get organized here. Last meeting, we talked a little bit about the concerns of the lakes and the condition of the algae. So Jack had asked some and answered some questions we had, but the total contract for 24 months is $33,552, $16,726 annually, and they will do it over 24 months. So they will send us an invoice at the beginning of the month, and then we have till 30 days to pay it. So with that, Jack already has the aeration system in, I think it's First Lake now still, and then we'll be doing the chemical treatment. But this is an impact to definitely the 2017 and 2018 budget that, you know, we're signing off on now, but you just have to realize that that's going to impact the budget. And there are going to be many, many things that impact the budget this year coming up. So
We don't have to vote on doing it now. You're just giving an update, and we don't have to know we're going to start it.
well, they're going to start January 1st, 2017 because of the permitting. They said the permitting takes the time. So even if we signed it today, it wouldn't start till January.
So we're going to.
But I'd like to execute it now to get it permanent stuff.
Do you foresee that we will have to do this forever, or once they get ahead of it, do you think it might be a different amount on the contract because it's so bad now to get caught up on it? That maybe it may be a little less because they won't have to do quite as much.
I personally think it's going to be an ongoing expense, but I don't know if it's going to be this drastic. But inflation, I can't predict what will happen 3 years ago.
So
Once they get it clear,
you'd like to get improvements on that?
yeah.
Council's wishes, you guys like to, somebody like to make a motion to,
Yeah, I make a motion that we retain the services of that said company.
at that contract amount, which would be.
What is it, 33 what, Steve?
The total contract price was $33,552 for 24 months.
Second.
Motion is second. Now, just so everybody knows, we're approving it now so they can do the permitting process. It won't probably be started until Wednesday,
January.
January 1st, and this will affect our budget for next year. Okay, so we're not budget this year. Any questions, comments, concerns?
At this price, does it have to be bid out?
Jack, was this on CoStars or was this a professional service?
It's a professional service. There are very few companies that do this type of work. Contacted 3, and this was the only one that actually got back to me. Any pricing.
Okay. That was my next question, was we look at the people you at least contacted?
And I think they are out of Ohio, but they have a local office in Newark, Delaware.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like council just to, I only made a couple copies, but I'd like council, you can pass these down, to take a look at these photographs. And what they're showing you are some before and after pictures of how the pond was maintained before. And this is actually even prior to, they actually have been maintained even that. These are kind of interim pictures and then current pictures.
Does this have anything to do with this contract?
Yeah,
they
it
were bid
does.
on?
Yes, it does.
How does it?
Because I would like council to consider maybe not doing the contract and instead consider taking the money and putting it into our standard pond maintenance that we have done, mill race maintenance, that we've done since for the last 30-some years. And actually, I'd like council to know that the ponds, if you think about it, the mill race and the ponds, they ran mills. There's always water flowing through, there's always a good current. It really was very functional. And it's only until recent history that the ponds have become disgusting. And it's because that the ponds and the mill race have not been maintained. Specifically since around 2010. So I'd like you to look at the pictures, and what you'll see are before and after, well, around 2010, and then current pictures of what it looks like. And you can see, particularly if you look at this little concrete dam thing, where you see where it used to be very clear, and the water, and this wasn't even actually clear, it's still mucked up. The water, the water would come through, and now there's so many cattails and everything that the water cannot flow, so of course you're gonna have the stagnation. So I would encourage council to, instead of putting the money into a contract with a company, unless it's just for 1 year for them to clean out the cattails and the mill race, to just consider having our public works do what they have done over the years. We've never had to have a pond maintenance contract, and the ponds have been there since the early, late
17, 16.
yeah, the 70s, when we had used federal funds and stuff to make the ponds better. So we've never had to do this, and it's really just a matter of going back to what we did before instead of taking on this enormous expense.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in
I just
favor?
had one.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry, Alex had one, sorry.
Guarantees, is there any guarantee in the contract?
Jackie, when you
I
talk
don't know
about
if there's a
this,
guarantee, but
they're doing
Except
like
the
a
ponds will be clean.
five-step procedure, and
They're actually, they will actually come out and meet with us prior to, if not January, during the month of January. And they're actually treating invasive species. They will treat the cattails. There's a whole list of, and I don't have the contract in front of me, but there's some other items that they're gonna be doing.
it's pretty extensive. It's not just for one thing. They're going to do, they told you there was several different problems.
Yeah,
They're all-
there's 4 or 5 different types of algae in there. They're gonna treat duckweed and, a bunch of other
Is
things.
this just for the ponds? Are they going to do any
It's all,
mill
it's
race
all,
maintenance?
it's all 5 ponds.
Oh, okay, okay, up there.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah,
about?
because they said they could treat First Lake,
Mhm.
but because of the downstream flow, the stuff from upstream is just eventually gonna get into First Lake again.
Mhm. So will they do you know if they'll be doing any kind of dredging, or is that a full
They
separate
will not do any
contract
dredging.
you
Now,
have to do?
that dredging probably involves the Army Corps of Engineers, because you're in the waters of the US.
Yeah.
Even though the lakes are private or the ponds are private on borough property, the water that gets into them is part of the waters of the US, so that involves a whole other permitting
I
issue.
believe the ponds are also, if you look at the map, they're also waters of the, they're
Yes,
jurisdictional
yeah,
waters,
yes,
they
no,
know the
that's,
ponds are.
right.
But, yeah, so I was just wondering how the mill, if they were gonna be doing anything with the mill race. So they're really just treating the ponds, and so the connection between the ponds.
Well, the only portion of the mill race they may not treat is the portion around First Lake. Everything else they will treat up to Fifth Lake,
Okay.
only because it's not really a mill race anymore. It's sort of, especially between Second and Third Lake, it's sort of opened up a lot.
But they'll be able to remove debris and things like that?
They will not remove debris. That's not,
The trees.
that's actually getting, I mean,
Okay.
that's actually getting into the water, which they would, and I don't know the whole specifics because we didn't meet with that yet, but I know that the Commonwealth permitting process is at least 3 to 4 months.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Okay, ordinance 2016-4, amending chapter 2003 Parks and Playground, supporting young lungs at play program. We advertised it 8/31. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second that.
Motion is second. Questions?
Yes.
Sure.
I had, one question was, I didn't understand, and I really did a lot of research on it to learn more about the program. It's a nice program. But why is, I don't understand why chewing tobacco and snuff are included, because it has nothing to do with lungs. So I didn't know quite why we would be saying, no, you know, the ordinance says there's no tobacco-free, but yet that has nothing to do with lungs. And then the other thing that I found, which is we already have, the state already has the Clean Indoor Air Act, which also covers public places. And I think our solicitor needs to take a closer look at this ordinance. I understand a lot of places have adopted it, but the Clean Indoor Act, you might know that there's legislation on the board, but it's in committee right now. So in order that is supposed to amend the Clean Indoor Air Act, but the Clean Indoor Air Act prevents municipalities from making any laws that are not compliant with this. And so by putting in e-cigarettes and things like that, that are not in the Clean Indoor Act already, we can't do it. It's not allowed by law. So I want to toss that out there as something for you to look at.
Thank you very much. We have a motion, a second, any more discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed?
Our solicitor needs to look at this. We shouldn't be passing this when it might.
Just a little auction ratifying the transactions. Steve, you just want to ratify that, you want to go to, now you want to do that?
Yeah, we asked for permission to complete the transaction since the date of the auction closed prior to our bid. I think I put a cover sheet with the amounts in there for the items that were sold, and I'd just like a motion to ratify the sale.
Motion to ratify the sale?
So moved.
Second? Second. Questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries, thank you. Next, we'll go down to total purchase contracts. Steve, you want to go over that?
Yeah, let me get the order here for yeah, as you know, we've been talking about recycling toters to match our existing trash toters. We recently went out and met with Toter, Billy and I and Lori, and we talked about getting a 64-gallon toter. The toters would be the same exact color as the large toters, and we would order yellow lids for most of them, and we have some small ones that if people wanted to mix their, or change up their trash to be the 64 and the recycling to be the 96, they could easily do that. We would just switch the lids. So the contractor picking them up will know that the yellow lid's recycling, and so we thought that was a good idea since we already had the 96-gallon toters, and a lot of people complained about space. So I'd like to get everybody on board with the toters. Our contract with trash we're working on now expires in December, so we'd like to include, as well as the 96-gallon toters, the 64 collection.
That's what we included to do it. So what you want to do is you want a motion to approve the purchase?
Yeah, this is a CoStarz, and the total cost for the toters and the lids and everything we had ordered is $105,708.
And we have that, correct? That's
Yeah, I did. I checked with Kerry, and we have about, yeah, we have enough for the total.
right. So we'll be fine. So it's not going to affect the budget. Or we have a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Dave, recycling. Questions?
How
Okay.
will this affect the, moving forward with a new refuse contract?
Well, we just want to include, we put in the last one that we would be going to 96-gallon toters, so they could do the automated load if they wanted to in certain sections of town. So we just want to be able to include that we'll be going to toters also for recycling. So we want to include that in the contract. I don't think it's going to be any more, because now they're picking up the green toters.
Could it be less? Because it's less.
It could be. I won't know until we get the bids back in January.
You wouldn't think that labor would be less, but we pay the tipping charges. So what we're hoping is, I know I definitely will take everything out that I can recycle and put it in. Once I fill the 2 containers I have stuff going all over. So hopefully it's going to pay off in the end on that tipping fee.
Hopefully it'll be a little bit less, and yes, we do get money back for recycling. So the more the residents recycle, the borough does get some of that money back, grant money and whatnot, depending on our tonnage. So the more we recycle, the more we get.
Yes, Patricia, I'm
Be
sorry.
dropped off at somebody's house.
They'll all be serial numbered, and that's a sample of one I have in the back corner, if you'd like to look. They'll all be dropped off and serial numbered, just as they are with the large trash toters, and they will stay with the home, so.
They did great last time. All right, your motion is second. All in favor? Opposed? No. Guys, great job. I'm so excited about the recycling. Yeah, thank you. Okay, next we have 2017 MMO police pension, non-uniform pension. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. I guess, Carrie, you want to say something about it, or Steve? That's
Well, there is some discussion that needs to be had there.
Yeah. You can kind of explain that.
Yeah, if you want to take a look at,
That's the sheet we have here for.
there are 2 sheets. One, the top sheet is the police. And if you'll take note, the bottom, number 10 on the top sheet says minimum municipal obligation based on market value of assets. You can see the disparity between $296,000 and the minimum municipal obligation of $203,000. And, you know, we've been talking about this for years. We've always paid the lesser amount, and eventually it's going to catch up with us. I mean, the police department has a defined benefit program, so they are the biggest cost because they take an analysis of each officer, their current age, and what the pension plan would have to pay out when they reach retirement. So at this point, you can see we're probably $93,000 roughly in the hole for each officer that would retire. So every year we slip a little further back, and we think the market may pick up and we'll gain some ground. So we've been taking the lower amount because that's the minimum we have to fund the pension. So I think you guys really need to think about this and see if we want to make, again, this is one of those things that's going to affect next year's budget. And as you know, we've completed arbitration. We're waiting to hear back from the arbitrator, and I don't know what cost might be associated with that either. So you have the ponds contract, you have big items like this that are going to impact next year's budget. So
We can pay the minimum, but we can always add to it, correct? The minimum is what we have to
the
pay.
minimum is what you have to pay. You should be paying the $296,181 to fund the plan fully.
How is that 296 calculated?
It's done by person. We have an actuary study done of the police departments, and like I said, it goes by, you know, every officer that works in the police department, their age, when they're going to retire, their anticipated retirement date, and what that money they're going to need. With a defined, you know, benefit, it's obviously, they know exactly what they're going to retire with.
So this number has no relation to any other number on this page?
I don't understand.
It's based on payroll too, somewhat.
No, that gives you the 203.
It's based on the level of payroll and also the anticipated life expectancy.
So that's a number given to us from an actuary,
Yeah,
That's correct.
the 296.
correct.
We do not come up with that.
When will this catch up with us? When do you first see, I mean,
It's hard to say, it depends on many retire the next.
well, I didn't know whether they calculated, looked at long term to see how many guys are going to be doing it, and we would have to do it by a certain year, or you actually recommend we do it now, kind of stuff.
If we keep paying the minimum, it is going to be, I can't tell you when that's going to happen, but it's going to be an issue we're going to deal with at some point down the road. If not this year, it's going to have to be next year.
So it's going to catch up with us. All right, guys.
Well, can we fund instead of 203,000, can we do it in increments instead of do it more like 223,000 one year and so that instead of having to come up with a 93,000 all in 1 year, we go ahead and just start increasing it.
The form says you have to select 9 or 10, the minimum, or that what they say. I have to get back to,
But this is every year, it's going to cost us that. This isn't where you're going to step up to get that amount of money. You're going to design
It's gonna change
3,000
every
this year, next year might be more. It could be 106, the following year that, it could be 125. So you're never, ever going to get caught up. You're always going to
incrementally, you're never going to be able to catch
Right,
up.
you're never going to get caught up paying, it's like making a minimum payment on your charges. You're not there, you're always going to owe it. So I almost think we should go with the extra guys and just bite the bullet at the budget and let's not leave the pension fund in trouble later on.
The only question I have is still on this 296. So this is our obligation based on the actuary's numbers, and it doesn't reflect the 71,000 from the members, their contribution.
Correct, that's not, when they contribute, that'll offset that number. Right now, they're at a maximum of 5%, so that will be deducted, any contributions. But again, we don't know because the pension is invested in, the stock market. So you can kind of say what a rate of return is, but in the end, we don't really know. But we've been lagging behind now for about the past 5 years. Before we were overfunded, and then we were just funded, and now we're starting to go backwards. And that's based on the age and who retired.
And we didn't have this issue for years past, and it was the first year with this deficit, and say we can go ahead with the minimum and not worry about it for a couple of years. So Steve says it's true, it's been this way for a couple of years.
We have to do catch-up to get back on,
Right.
or else several years from now, we're really going to get south. The taxpayers are going to get lost. Any more questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Wait, so we have to decide between 9 or 10, is that what we're deciding on?
Correct.
Because the motion was just to,
Oh, I'm sorry, we did the motion for 10. You want to pick 9 or 10?
Was it the motion
Yeah, that's up to you guys,
It's your choice.
your choice.
I know, did we start this discussion?
Well, we actually started, I thought it was for 10, but if you want to, that's what Steve came to ask for, number 10. He's saying we have to pay the 203.
I don't think anybody made a motion.
Yeah, we made, okay, you want to make the motion for, let's redo it. All right, I'd like to have a motion,
For the minimum municipal obligation based on the current market value of assets.
296, 181.
So 10.
All right, got a motion for that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, questions?
I think that it would be wise if we did not have since we're taking on $93,000 extra to take up the pond maintenance and go ahead and approve this.
Yeah, we're over the pond maintenance, we're on this, just,
Well,
let's
it's gonna be
stay
coming
on
up
this,
budget time.
and we did that, so I asked you just to talk about the requirements,
Well,
and
I
not go
don't,
back on back
okay,
business.
here's my comment.
Please.
I don't think that, you don't need to yell.
I'm not
I
yet.
don't think that we need to, I don't think we can handle taking on 2 large debts. I think that if we want to do the 296, we have to give something up, otherwise I think we need to go with number 9. Those are my comments.
Thank you, have a motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. And can I ask council, please stick to the issues that we're doing.
Thank you.
All going next.
Yeah, Mr. President, if we could approve the second, the non-uniform for 97,160.
Oh,
Make a motion to approve the non-uniform obligation, financial requirement obligation.
97,160, correct?
Second motion.
Okay, a motion second. Questions? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Thanks, Steve. All righty, next, resolution 2016-11, hazardous mitigation plan. Motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All righty, Steve, you want to comment on that, or is that?
Actually, the former chief, Mr. McGowan, is here tonight. Maybe he'd like to comment on that.
All right.
What you're doing is just following the law that makes us eligible for disaster funding. The county put together a countywide hazard mitigation plan, looking at all municipalities. They met with emergency services and codes and planning in all the different municipalities, identified both natural and man-made possible issues that we could have, and the plan identifies them. And by this, you're just acknowledging, yes, that is, and it is correct, and it is. they've identified the issues that we have here in the borough and elsewhere.
That's more housekeeping than.
Correct.
Okay, sounds okay? All right, all in favor?
I missed the second.
I second
Okay, I guess you'll be up again, Jerry. 2016-12 emergency operation plan. Motion to adopt?
it. So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Jim, you want to explain?
Again, this is a housekeeping issue. The state requires that we have a current plan, should do it every 2 years. We missed that target, but now we're rectifying it. It's two parts. You were emailed it. One's the plan that sets out responsibilities to different people, and the second plan, which is not subject to FIFA, to freedom of information, is the checklist and everything else are much more detailed. We've had this plan before, it's in place, not much change, truthfully, if anything. It's done as well, and again, it's a regulatory housekeeping thing. Every 2 years we should do this, so I'm getting everything in order, so.
Perfect. Any questions, guys?
Yeah, questions.
Yes.
I was just wondering, who is in charge about this disaster mitigation plan, stuff like who?
I am your current emergency management coordinator. What that entails is if we have a declared emergency, sort of I act as your chief of staff, just giving you information and coordinating the various components. The people that are normally in charge of things still stay in charge. What my job has been, and we're one of the municipalities in the county that has actually used our plan frequently because of our flooding and some other issues. We're subject to transportation issues both on the railroad and on the bypass. During my 30 years, it's a volunteer position. I've held it for my 31st year now. We've done very well by the citizens. But council is actually in charge still, and the fire chief's still in charge of the fire department, and the police chief's still in charge of the police department. But I, or whoever is in this position, acts to coordinate and give you guidance because the position works closely with all these people and gets to know them, and that's how successful EMC actually becomes successful, is being able to make phone calls and people pick up the phone and get back to you. So,
Jimmy, how many years have you been involved in this?
31 is your actual EMC.
31 years, guys, of experience. Thank you very much.
I recall that we had some meetings. So are you going to be, is it part of this where you would have one of those, not a mock situation,
we have
walk-through situation?
Yes, we have done that before, and we've had other things on the table as of recently, but that's not out of the realm of responsibility that we would do it again. We have done small components of that, like our active shooter program in the police department with Chief Holland and the school district and everything else. We work closely with them. All that comes into this type of thing. So with Chief Law and everything in the fire department, we've done some stuff. We haven't done a full-blown one in a number of years because of concentrating on some of these other possibilities, but it is something that is not a bad thing to do and probably should come up, and it's really not that expensive to do.
It's interesting.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much.
I need to go back again, but who was the
First,
first?
as I said, first and second.
First, I second.
Okay.
I listened. All righty, 118 Brandywine Avenue loading zone. Steve, you want to kind of explain that?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I know what you want, I don't know how you want.
Yeah, what we need to do is, right now, our ordinance, it's in vehicles and traffic, 27492. Right now, the Brandywine Avenue in front of the Opera House is from 6:30 a.m. to 4:30. We're looking to change it to 9 p.m. for the loading zone. I think that was requested by the Opera House owner, and I think there's a few folks here tonight from the Opera House. So, I mean, that's my goal tonight, is to amend the ordinance. Motion to attempted to adopt the ordinance, so did you include that in the vehicle?
No.
Okay, so I'll have to put that together, but,
So we're gonna table that other? or you want-
no, what I'd like to do is make a motion to advertise with the intent to adopt tonight, to just change the hours until 9 PM. There's a loading zone already there, and then Jack would have to sign it again.
All right. We have a motion with intent to adopt the change in.
There's a question
zone
here.
hours.
So,
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Council, have any questions on the loading zone? I can understand. That was always a loading zone.
What's the definition of loading zone, why did it want it accepted?
The folks are here tonight.
Yeah, why don't you, can you come on up here and give your name and you can kind of explain the whole thing better than we can?
And now you're here.
I'm Paris Fig, Century 21 Ashley Realty, we manage property for the owner. There was a loading zone sign out there, and it just disappeared. I called Public Works up, they told me it wasn't a valid loading zone, that's why I took the sign. So I contacted Tom Uhas, and he said, you have to come in front of the council.
It used to be a loading zone. Years ago, it was a loading zone.
It was, that's when they first, when they redid the building.
It was a
They
loading
got
zone.
permission, it says
way
here,
back.
there was permission from one driveway to the other from the building being as a 2-hour loading zone. Now I was told that they don't have 2-hour loading zone, there'd be a 20-minute loading zone, which would be fine.
Okay, so that's what you're looking for, a 20-minute loading zone?
Well, that's what the ordinance.
That's all we're allowed, Tom? Can you,
Yeah, in 2003, 2004, when they first remodeled the Opera House, is when council made this decision. And it's to accommodate their tenants and allow the business to use it.
Right.
And still overnight, the tenants could use it. That's why they have tenants now that will operate from 5 to 9 p.m.
okay.
And we can get some use out of the Opera House, which was the goal from day one. So that's why the request is to make it to 9 p.m.
Do you see any problem with that, Tom, down there, and we'll ask Howard too, I guess? Do you guys see any problems with changing the hours down there to make it that loading zone, or is that actually going to, it's only in that one spot, right in front of the building,
It's from
correct? So it's not,
driveway, it's from driveway to driveway, it's
Okay.
strictly their frontage, correct? Correct.
so,
Can I ask, is this the tea shop?
The tea shop's gone.
It's gone.
they came in for the other week.
We had come in, we had a printing company that was looking to move into the auditorium part, and then they found out because they're so close to the border, it was,
What, the ballerinas or?
no, well, right now, it's a dance studio right now. They actually start as of September 1st. And they're taking the middle section where the tea shop is and the auditorium.
And don't they need parking during the day?
They did spots, they came in
There-
and talked about buying.
There was another variance, I believe, for parking for a church. They have the same agreement as the church. The only difference is they have more drop-offs than the church. And again, it's strictly in their frontage.
So 6:30 in the morning till 9 at night.
There's the loading zones. The daytimes for the businesses, the night times is for the dance studio.
Okay.
And then, after 9, the residents can have.
So a loading zone is not employee parking, right? It's
It's basically to drop off. I mean, if they're dropping their kids off for dance class and coming back to pick them up.
So nobody's parking there.
There's not.
And going to work inside and being there for hours.
Not, no.
20 minutes, right, Tom? It's a 20-minute, or Howard, it's a 20-minute drop-off time?
20 minutes. The only downside is, as you all know, parking is premium in the borough. You start giving us loading zones. You can do what you want, but then the next business comes and say, well, we like a loading zone in front of our location. You have to be careful, I would suggest moving forward, of how many loading zones you put out there.
I follow.
I mean, the whole thing was, we had the loading zone there prior to, and it was taken down.
Yeah, I don't understand that, because it says right here in what we're looking at, that there's a loading zone there. And so I don't know why the sign would be taken down, and it said it's from 6:30 to 4:30.
I called Public Works, and the sign, they told me that they took the sign down because it wasn't a valid loading zone. And I needed to talk to the borough.
Yeah, we since found it, but the wrong hours. We didn't know it was valid. We thought it was for the plumbing company that was there years ago, that it was something different then. we didn't know it was in the ordinance. We went through, Tom found it, and it is in the ordinance, but it's only 6:30 to 4:30 currently. And the last, I guess, hearing we had, they requested in 2003.
2003, 2004, and,
I mean, in a nutshell, okay, and I understand what Howard was saying, this is a loading zone. It is a loading zone to 4:30. The only thing you're asking is to extend it 4 hours or so. So we're not voting on adding a loading zone or making more loading zones. The only thing we're talking about is extending it because the business is open to that time. Correct? Correct.
Yes.
And I don't think that'll have any negative impact on future businesses saying we want a loading zone, because we'll be like, well, this is just kind of been in the ordinance, it's not a new addition, it's just been there, so I don't think.
No, I'm just cautioning you moving
Yeah.
forward with loading zones where you're.
Oh, absolutely. All right, any more questions, guys?
I just, ACO property,
Yeah.
I haven't heard that, that hasn't been ACO in what, 35, 40 years?
I don't have.
No idea.
That's on my paper here. I grew up down the street from that.
I work there. Can't help you, but no idea.
I would think that when you update this, maybe you need to change ACO to a more meaningful.
We'll actually put the address.
The address, so that you can,
Yeah, we do.
would be good.
All right, guys, so what we have to do is, you want a motion with the intent to advertise, correct? You want to advertise?
Motion with the intent to adopt, to advertise increasing the hours to 9 p.m.
4:39, but all we're doing is extending the hours. So that's in there, that's a motion you have?
That's what
Okay, that's the
yeah.
motion we have. Okay, we have a motion, second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you guys, we appreciate it coming in and explaining.
Did they get the sign back?
Yeah. Yeah, don't get it.
So if we can't look for the sign, or the borough will do it.
Okay, we got great staff. All right, guys, 2016-5, amendment chapter
Jefferson Ave.
274, vehicles and traffic, business permit parking.
Yeah. If I may, this is probably the third or fourth revision we've had on this parking ordinance, and you had requested for me to look at, along with Main Street, to look at parking for businesses.
Right.
When we first started out, the parking committee felt that the businesses wouldn't require as much parking as they do. So since that time, we've been approached by Roberts and Commonwealth engineers and a bunch of them. So this amendment, we put in there that the residents will have first priority, and then whatever's left over will be sold to businesses on an annual 6-month to 12-month basis. So that can change depending on availability. We want to make sure the residents get the first option for the permits. But I assume this would be a mirror hanger permit program for businesses, and it's something that Val, I guess, will have to administer. So we're taking on another program, but I think it's beneficial because now there are empty spaces that the businesses could use, and they don't want to put money in the meters every day. They just want to have a permit and be in and out. So that's pretty much all we're amending on this ordinance.
So what you need for this, Steve, to,
We have to advertise, so it's another motion to advertise with intent.
motion to adopt, okay. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions?
Yeah. Are any of these lots currently have kiosks on them?
Just let me jot that down. Well, it says municipal lots, so right now, there is not. We're going to focus on the Little Washington Avenue lot for the Lancaster Avenue businesses, and we're going to focus on the Park Lane lot for that permit parking, but we also have Little Jefferson, and we also have the West End, which are also permit parking lots.
Okay, so none of these have kiosks on them already then?
Not now, but it does not state that, though. I mean, I guess it would be the borough's prerogative whether they wanted to do that, which I would prefer not to. I mean, I would like them to use the permit lots first and let them get filled up. But, I mean, it's just revenue that people are asking. They want to buy these permits. so.
They're empty spots that you
They're
can
empty
use that we
spaces
can
that we
make
can-
income to
yeah.
offset our parking. Any other questions here?
Yeah, I'm just curious as far as the parking, because I'm kind of confused with, with businesses where you have to, they have to have their parking in order to get, in order to be, approved, and they might do a fee in lieu or whatever if they don't have the parking. I mean,
A lot of them are grandfathered in, and a lot of the businesses, if you go downtown, have no parking because they're grandfathered in. You're talking about new business that are opening up and need approved. So, believe it or not, some businesses downtown have zero parking, and they'll be able to buy these and get their cars off the street where they have to tie up a meter parking that we can turn over to benefit residents. Okay? And motion second.
Excuse me? Would it be possible for a resident to ask a question?
What we have is, well, I guess first off, what is your proposed plan to give priority to residents? How will you
Well,
achieve that?
right now, the west end is full. I mean, residents have totally bought out those spaces, so we have no availability for businesses down on the west end. But the west end has more parking for businesses, for the most part. Right now, I'm focused on Park Lane, like I said, and Little Washington. So there are some tenants in the block where the bank is now. Commonwealth Engineers and a few of them have asked about that. So when we originally did the ordinance, we said one space per business would be allowed for permit, but everyone wants more than one space, so. And the fee will be the fee. I mean, it's a 6-month, fee or an annual fee of $250. It's a flat fee across residential, business, everyone is the same fee. So we're not really changing that.
So if you sell all the spots where you can bought by individuals and businesses, then a new individual comes and says, I want a permit. What is your procedure?
Well, I mean, that's why it's on a rotating basis. I mean, if a business bought, let's say 6 months, Roberts buys for 6 months, and we say, after 6 months, we say, okay, well, you bought 30, now you can only have 29 because we have a new person that wanted to buy it, or something like that.
So we can do like a
It's
6 month.
revolving.
We can do like a 6-month basis, so the most might be tied up for 3 months all of it. Then in 3 months, if there is a residence, we'll have priority.
Well, it's been almost a year, so we pretty much know who's parking where now.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, right now, it's probably not going to be, it's not going to be germane, but in the future.
In the future.
Like, if a resident comes in and they see, well, I get first dibs at this, but how does that work? When is my dibs?
Well, it's a rolling 6 months, 12 months.
Okay.
We have to
And
reevaluate.
that makes sense, like, if residents can buy 12, but businesses can buy 6, that could
Right.
be better for the
They don't
resident.
have it perpetual.
did you consider saying that only 90% of the parking spaces could be permitted out and the other 10% are just kept open and free?
I don't know how you could do that, because like Roberts needs, they're looking for 30 spaces. And like Park Lane lot, we left that at 50 cents per day for the business owners. Well, that lot is vacant, so they don't want to pay the 50 cents a day. So we left it there so no one could say, well, I am a business owner and I have to pay $8 a day to meter parking space. So we said, okay, well, here, use this at 50 cents. Basically, it's empty. And there are maybe 1 or 2 people that use it routinely for business, and the rest are empty. So, I mean, if we could sell the 30 spaces for them,
But isn't Park Lane used by people going to Kerr Park?
well, that's, again, it's only, there's a time frame. So usually the park use is heavier in the evenings. And there's still designated spots for park use there, so.
Okay. Motion is second. All in favor? Opposed?
I'm opposed.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Fall Fest Beer Garden. Steve, you want to come up and address that, because you're running that, so we do have the paperwork, but we can kind of,
Start throwing shit.
Uh-oh, don't do that. You're gonna have to just stand up.
So, guys.
I believe he had questions of,
Excuse me, please, we'll run the meeting, it's council's time. Thank you.
do you realize that there are residents here to
Excuse me,
ask
please.
questions
Excuse me,
about what you're approving?
we've come up with all that you can talk. Thank you. Go right ahead, Steve.
So would they have time to be able to discuss what they wanted to say?
We have citizens to be
about
heard.
the parking.
We have
that we
citizens to
just
be
talked
heard.
about.
Right now, we're on the fall fest.
You just talked about the parking, I had a question about it. They had a question about the loading zone, they can ask about it? That's
The loading zone
bullshit.
was for that, that was their business.
And I got a question about the parking. What's
He
the
had his
difference?
hand up. Did you realize that?
Thank you, we'll address it afterwards at the end, if you like. How's that?
So
Okay?
you're gonna give them time?
I'll give him a few minutes. I normally don't, I'm going to make an exception.
Well, isn't that
because evidently
sweet?
they've been sitting here and I didn't know. We had citizens to be heard.
You don't see
That's the
us
time
in
to come up and address your concerns or let it know that we're on here. I can't,
You don't see
I
us
can't
in
know what everybody's doing. Go ahead, Steve.
They don't see us.
Paul Fest, please.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good evening, council. My name is Steve Lauder. I'm the president CEO of Downingtown Main Street and the executive director of the Downingtown Chamber of Commerce. Here tonight in regards to Downingtown Main Street's application for the Borough Council approval of the beer garden for Fall Fest. In the memo, I was pretty clear of what we have going on. There's a copy of the special occasion LCD permit that has been approved for that date, and the event is Sunday, September 25th, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Locations are on the block of Green Street between Lancaster and Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania between Wallace and Lake Huron. This will be our seventh annual fall festival.
Steve, not to be redundant, but you have all the permits in place. You're actually coming in to get the proof from council is actually happening, correct?
That's correct. All the permits are approved.
Everything's in
Based on
place.
Borough, we're just complying with the new borough ordinance that requires approval for the beer garden by Borough Council.
And this is your seventh time this, not the seventh that. You've had a lot more than the seventh, correct?
Oh, correct.
All right, so you need a motion to approve. Do I have a motion to
So
approve?
moved.
Do I have a second? Questions?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
I'm just curious, the Downingtown Main Street has the license here, but the Chamber of Commerce has the mass gathering permit. I'm kind of curious. So is there a reason why, like, the Chamber of Commerce doesn't have the permit, or that the Downtown Main Street doesn't get the mass gathering permit? That it's
Right. So it's a shared cost. It's a partnership, this event between the Chamber of Commerce and Main Street. So, for example, the permitting for the beer garden is paid for, obtained by Main Street. Insurance is Main Street. The mass gathering, the permit by the Chamber of Commerce. So it's shared cost.
And is this to benefit both Chamber of Commerce and Main Street, or to?
Yes, the proceeds of Downingtown Fall Festival benefit goes to the Chamber of Commerce and Main Street.
From the beer garden?
Anything else, Ed?
I don't have one other question, which
I'm sorry, can you speak louder? I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
never mind.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have any other questions? Okay, we have a motion.
Actually, I do have one more. I have a question about Main Street's ability to get the permit itself.
I don't believe that's germane to this conversation right now, so.
Well, because it's the beer garden.
It's really not. We have approval.
But yeah, but see, we're not approving the LCB's permit.
Jeff.
They do that.
Yeah, Jeff, thank you for the,
No problem.
we're here proving that they have all the permits in place. They have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
I just want to commend you. You guys did a wonderful job on the 3 events.
Thanks very much.
Unbelievable. People from all over come to that event. New faces, new whatever. We appreciate it. Thank you. All right, guys, I'm sorry, but state your name and address. Yes, this is a little out of unusual, but I missed you when we did the parking, so if you have a question on the parking, go
My name
ahead.
is Glenn Johnson Jr. of the 157 Jefferson Ave. And we've been arguing about this since June, about the parking lot on there. You guys supposed to give us parking?
We didn't argue about it, but if I can
Well,
comment
this
on
is
it,
discussed.
we addressed it, we discussed it. We counted the number of places, we counted the number
Read the
of,
top.
we counted the number of parking spaces and all, and we addressed that in another meeting. So unless you have something new to correct,
What's it say?
please go back to the statement, because I appreciate it. Thank you.
Did you bring your particular petition? I know last time it was left that you were going to redo a petition. Is that-
I don't think he was here at
I
that
wasn't here
meeting.
last meeting.
Okay, I'm going to explain this to you. We went through it, I guess, evidently. We counted it, there was enough for 2 residents, 2 spots per house with the spots on there. What we did was, in order to make it residential permit parking only, you'd have to get 75% of the people, Howard, is that what that is? 75% of the people to request that, to make that a permanent parking only on the streets there. And that's,
That is not stating the street parking, that's stating the parking lot.
yes, and we did this parking lot. We addressed this, the only way we did it, council addressed it. So where we are, if you want to make it a permanent parking only, I don't know what this is for, why this came in, but this isn't what we talked about.
It's right there, what's it say in that paper I just gave you, Vice President?
This isn't what we said was, what we said
Hold on,
was.
it's my turn, like you said.
Go right ahead.
Read what it says.
I'm gonna give you a
It
couple
says
minutes.
about the
We're
parking
not
lot,
gonna debate this.
because you don't like what I'm talking about.
No, because we're done with this. So you go ahead, I'm gonna give you a couple minutes.
I
Go
see
right
where the
ahead.
confusion is. This is the topic of conversation, and when we started the topic of conversation, it was about the parking lot.
Exactly.
This has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah.
So that's how it was on the agenda. When we discussed giving the permit parking, it was only limited to the street, making that
How are you gonna give
permit parking for the residents. of that
Jefferson
street.
Avenue residential parking on the street when there's not even enough room to park everybody's car on the street?
We went through this. We counted the spots, and I'm gonna explain this to you if you pay attention. We went down, the 3 of us,
I
measured,
seen you.
I know you did,
Park.
excuse me, I'm talking about. We measured the spots.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 spots per house, more than anywhere in town, more than anywhere, okay? So what we said was, we talked to several residents, they said there's abandoned cars, boats, people parking 3 and 4 cars. So what we said was, if you can get the neighbors together and come in and sign a petition to do a residential permit, okay, parking only, we could get that through the police station, they could do it. Never about parking in the parking lot. We addressed that, and that's what it is. You have any other questions
But
about that? If not, I'm going to end your time here.
As
So-
I recall,
my
they
thing-
did talk
Excuse me.
about, as I recall, they did talk about.
And we voted that
As I
down.
recall, they did talk about asking for
And I
spots
gave you a
in
petition.
the parking
Pardon?
lot itself.
That wasn't the petition we told you to do. You came in with one petition asking for something else. The other petition was for permanent
That's
parking.
what you said, that's what you had in the
When
minutes.
I got
This-
that
this is-
petition done, that was for that meeting.
minutes.
Requesting.
We had that
parking
meeting.
for-
We did
Petition
the
requesting
petition.
permanent
I
parking
got
for
the petition
residents.
signed, I came, brought it in. We left,
Howard,
because that's all you said.
can you address this? This is the right thing, you do whatever. I don't quite understand. So this is for parking on the street.
Yeah, you and the mayor over there hollering.
You guys talking about parking on the street.
What's this
That's
for?
what we voted.
I got one for parking on the street and on the lot.
Okay, is this the street one? Give me the one for the street.
No, I think that's the one for the
Okay,
street.
this is the one for the street. This is 75% of the units?
This is
That's all of
one
them.
of our
Ten houses.
Michael Jefferson, like we was told.
2, 3, 4.
That's 10 houses.
There's 10 houses.
Yeah, that's not
From
all.
Lee's garage down to
Yeah,
171.
down to Lee's house.
That's what we were told.
I thought we were going to do that whole street so we could do.
It's for the parking lot.
We're talking about the streets. I think you don't have the.
We gave you one with all
I
the
gave
streets. You said they were wrong.
Please.
I just said, I gave you one with everybody on the street.
Excuse me, I'm not going to shout and argue with you. I want to try to get this resolved. Let's do it now.
Mr. President, if I could.
I just sat here and said, I gave you one for everybody on the street. You said it wasn't the right one. Which one is it?
Well, I'll count the houses. We'll have Howard,
It's only
chief,
half the one.
the chief.
No, before. When I brought in the petition before, everybody on the
Parking
block.
in the
That wasn't
parking
for the
lot.
park.
Because that's what I had to get the petition
This
for.
is what we're going to ask. If you would
They
like
told me
to
I
do
could-
Like
this.
I said, you're telling me one thing, I do it.
If
Now
you
you're
would like to
changing
do
it.
this, it goes
Which
to,
one is it?
excuse me, if you'd like to do this, the police will handle it. They'll check all the names and all the numbers of houses, and then there's some, I don't know how you do it, I don't know how to do it, we don't do it, but then you get enough, and then you come to us and ask us for the approval. So there's certain steps please deal with the chief, get the right petition, together with the right amounts.
Glenn, is that a copy or is that your original?
What was the difference in having a petition?
No, no.
I tried to come here, I did what you told me to do. You don't like it,
I'm asking you to do.
and now I gotta do this, and this. No, I'm tired of running over hurdles, saying what you tell me to do, one thing, and another.
There's a procedure, okay.
And like I said,
Thank
on
you
that
very
paper,
We're not gonna get in a shout match, if you wanna do it.
What you
the right
gonna say,
way,
sir?
If not, we can't.
I just want to know if that's the original, if he needs a copy.
Mayor, council.
I think it's an
I got
original.
all the copies of the parking.
Thank you.
You gonna make a copy?
Thank you.
Glenn, can I have that, sweetie?
Council updates. We have
Who wants to take a
anything?
copy of those? Please.
Go right ahead.
Come on, Glenn, Glenn, let me,
Oh, no,
can I
no,
make
no.
it and bring it myself?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, officer. Can I take them, Glenn? And I'll make copies for you.
Please don't go yet.
No, I try one thing, they want another, no. Let me come
It'll get stopped. We're not here trying to stop.
No, you just trying to take everything with you.
But you know, you
No,
guys,
no, I'm not gonna get in a shout match over we're done.
no, I don't have to shout. But
But come in for citizens to be heard, please, that's what I asked you, please respect the process.
what'd you just
Okay.
say?
Phil, go ahead, you want to update?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the Log House was open on Sunday and 45 visitors came to town to check it out. And the two comments that we heard the most were, it's much bigger on the inside than I imagined, and the other one is, I've passed by this place 1,000 times, and this is the first time I've ever come inside. So that was good. And also the Historic Commission on the 17th, coming up, not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, from 9 to 2, over here by the Concert Pavilion, otherwise known as the Gazebo, we'll be having our annual Arts and Crafts Show. And looking for vendors, if anybody knows anybody that's so inclined, that has that kind of, we could give us a call. Their link is on the Boro website. And also on the 29th of this month, Library Love at the Downingtown Country Club from 6 to 9. A lot of good prizes up for grab that evening, including a Victory beer tasting and tour by Victory founder Bill Kovalevsky. And also another item is you could bid on Santa Claus visiting your house and coming to your house for a personal Santa experience, be it a photo shoot for your Christmas cards or your holiday party. That's all I'm
The Downingtown Borough News will be released this week. It's an e-newsletter with information about all of our board commissions and calendar of events. So if you'd like to get it sent to your house, just go on Downingtown's website, and there's a little link there that you sign up to be a subscriber. We already have about 305 subscribers in the week that it's been up, so I think it's going to be very popular.
Just out of curiosity, Steve, can we put that on the bottom of our sewer bills or like a little note? I know it's going to be on our website, but is there any way of everybody getting and seeing it?
Yeah, we have the ability to put that on the sewer refuse bill. There's some text availability there, so I mean, if people read it, we'll do it, but
We can actually advertise that on the billboard too, right?
we can, yeah.
Well, I'm saying it's per event. All right, Alex.
Water Authority meter replacements are underway, in progress. A couple have already been replaced. Everybody should have gotten their letters, and we'll be there replacing.
If I can comment on that, it works.
What is it?
They work.
Water meters.
People have gotten calls, they can tell you when you're wasting the water. I actually got a call to go out because someone thought they had a very bad leak. The Water Authority came out with a printout, actually showed that it was an intermittent leak. Okay? The lady said, oh, I worked on it last week, and it actually showed that it stopped. So it showed that it was an intermittent leak, not a leak in her water service and things. So it's going to really help the taxpayers save a few dollars. I'm really tickled with that. Yeah?
I just want to congratulate the Main Street for having hosted 3 summer jams and going bigger and better than last year.
A lot of work. He didn't stop all night running, all night. All night. Phil was there the whole night. They didn't stop all night, they worked.
And I don't know if you're going to bring the gazebo.
I was going to bring it. Thank you. Yes, Ann. Good for the order? Guys, the gazebo's unbelievable.
I do have one for the
excuse me, the gazebo's,
Oh, I thought I did that one.
the gazebo's unbelievable. People are commenting, saying how good it looks, the color scheme's great. The spokes are there, hopefully we get some security in place that'll keep an eye on it and keep it there. But Steve, I think it was Main Street, Parks and Recs Committee, and several volunteers that put a lot of hours, and you got the paint donated by
Sherwin-Williams.
Sherwin-Williams. I don't know about the other stuff or whatever, but we gave you another task, and you guys did it. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and it was a lot of work, a lot of Saturdays, some of the hottest days, but it was something needed to be done. So a lot of, a lot of volunteer hours for that, all the events we do, and a lot of people volunteer their time to try and make the town a better place. And so I support the 5 of you council people that do support us moving in the right direction, as opposed to the, the occasional obstruction. So I do appreciate all you do. So we'll keep moving forward despite, the haters that try and shut us down. So thank you.
The man hours and all you have, I can't imagine what that would have cost if we had to pay someone. I can't even imagine that. That's the hours and the people and all. And then, I'm sorry, but you said you did have something to add? Go right ahead.
Actually, I do, and it's just something that really needs to be addressed and brought up. And I feel like I should start out saying, guys, that it has been, I have been publicly chastised for not saying when I'm going to be absent at a council meeting. And I'll say that I find it interesting, and I have to say a little bit offensive and off-putting, that the council president, you're the one that has required that of all the council, and yet you didn't do that when you...
Raise your hand if you knew that Chip wasn't going to be here the last meeting.
There was no email. There was no email.
I told the borough manager, and when I said we didn't have to send an email, I said let the borough manager and
Oh, I
myself know.
see. Oh, thank you
don't
for
recall that?
altering the rules for that.
No, I didn't offer the rules.
No, well, good job.
Play your tapes and you'll find out it's true.
Good job.
All right, guys, I just want everybody to know
Motion to adjourn.
that we have, next meeting will be September 21st, so don't miss us. We're getting back into our...
Make sure to call, you're gonna miss it.
We have a, excuse me, please. That wasn't very rude. That was so bad. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Thank you, guys. Very good meeting.
How you doing, guys?
No. You told me. Then told me to put a petition. I put a petition for all that 20 has. I copied it from what you were saying.
Yeah, it'll be the next meeting, September.
Sarah, just a
Can I
reminder.
have you? Can I have you?
Meeting is